Hi guys!
What's up?
It's Monday.
It is Monday.
So,
It's Martin Luther King Day.
it is. You had the day off.
Milk Day. Dude, I don't even want to hear you had a whole week off
You
last
had a
week.
week off before. You had more than a week off, didn't you?
I'm just
Before
saying,
I did.
don't give me this. Oh, you had the day off.
Oh.
Let's talk about having Lee Jackson Day off. If
Yeah,
you want to get
that's
upset
true.
about
Okay,
something, we can talk about having
that's
Lee
true.
Jackson Day off.
So some people had today off. Got to do some streaming, I'm sure.
I did.
Nice.
I did. Yeah, I did.
But it's the evening,
It is.
so that means it's time for some magic. And you can see we got Atticus here with us tonight. You know, gonna be watching the stream, hanging out.
Yeah.
So per the usual, it's season number 4.
It is.
We've got 5 rounds of Modern.
Mhm.
The ban list has not kicked in yet.
It is not.
It officially kicks in on the 20th. But we've got some footage and stuff that's going to be... What nonsense holiday is that?
Listen, when you work for a local government...
They just make up holidays.
No. It's a holiday. It's on the calendar, at least our calendars around here. And the local government takes advantage of it. That's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Listen, you just live
I've
in
been
the
a-
South, and
I've-
you might get Lee Jackson
There
Day
you go.
off.
There you go.
But we have some footage that we're going to be showcasing Saturday,
Yeah.
in theory,
Yep.
potentially. Like 7 rounds of footage. Lots of coverage that we've got, because there was an event that took place last weekend, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yes, 2 weeks ago. January 7th, it was the free Modern event at Incredible Cards and Games in
Yep.
Front Royal. I was there grabbing 7 rounds of footage for us. And once it's shown on Saturday, you're going to go, well, wait. You may see some cards, like Golgari Grave Patrol or Gitaxian Probe. And just remember that this was 2 weeks ago, and we're still in that kind of weird place where the footage is old, so the cards are still legal at the time.
Right. But it's going to be the last time to see these decks in action, essentially. This is the way we're going to be promoting it, essentially. Last time before...
Is Infect going away?
Well, last time Gitaxian Probe Infect is going away.
Oh, okay. You got me really excited for
Yeah,
a
I
second.
know,
I was
you
like,
would
oh,
be
Infect is gone?
Now,
Sick.
Infect is still going to be around. It's going to be weaker. It's going to be a little different. A lot of people have been discussing and talking about ways to go into Infect going forward. Like you saw the video that was up on stream before we started coverage up that I had done earlier last week, like Wednesday or something like that. Just to kind of talk about what I think is going to be good stuff to try to test out and start getting people thinking and brewing. Some people were recommending like Thought Scours if you still want to run a full play set of Become Immenses to fill up your graveyard and stuff. There's just like different things people have been discussing. People were talking about surgical extraction, but I don't think that's really where you need to go at all, because just having a free spell and stripping stuff is, there's no replacement effect, which is actually pretty important in Infect. But I don't want to get too sucked into that discussion.
No, go ahead.
So-
Go ahead. I've got a whole thing written up on Blue-White Hate Bears I'd love to talk about. So you go do your thing.
I'm ready for it.
Go
Whenever
ahead.
they start messing with my deck,
Yep.
listen, I got plenty to
Yep.
say.
Go ahead.
But this is season number 4. We've had 3 seasons of Modern Magic Mondays.
We have.
So we've got player standings to go over, see where we're sitting for the season. Got some discussion to go over tonight, 5 rounds of coverage, all that kind of normal stuff that you'd expect to see for Modern Magic Mondays. So,
But to start,
before we even get into anything.
before we even jump into it, we have to say, first off, thank you to everyone that is currently sitting there in chat. Hello, I need a hey guys. Show me a hey guys, or a oh my dog. If you like this side of the.
Well, actually, you
caster.
can even just say cat facts, because that's a thing.
Don't do cat facts.
Cat facts, guys.
But if you guys are unfamiliar with Modern Magic Mondays, this is a weekly stream here at twitch.tv/Modern Magic Mondays, obviously, that we've been working on for almost 1 whole year.
We're getting closer.
We are getting very close.
February.
Yo, Charles, I see you. Yo, Hellshock. Hey, ladies.
What up?
Hey. And we bring you modern content from our local game store here in Winchester, Virginia. Comic Kung Fu, please don't. Okay. It's fine.
Just keep talking. Don't even worry about what I'm doing.
Charles. Roo. And so yeah, we've been doing this for a year, and this is kind of it's a learning stream. So maybe you're unfamiliar with the modern metagame. Maybe you're unfamiliar with Magic and as a whole. This is kind of what we want as a jumping on point for you guys. You know. Yeah,
maybe you have come out for pre-releases and stuff like that, and played some limited stuff, and play casually with your friends, but looking into other aspects of Magic. And this is a great way to kind of learn about a lot of these really cool decks and really cool cards that are out there in a really fun format. I know a lot of people are
really broken cards,
like maybe scared looking into Modern when you're used to like Standard. You're like, oh, there's such a smaller card pool, easier to figure out this format. I can get it all. I can get it all figured out. But Modern is a little bit like the Wild West when it comes to formats. It's a little crazy. There's a lot of decks that can just win. Even fringe decks can just like take matches off of people and stuff like that. So like you don't have to play a top tier deck in Modern. You can just play a deck that you find enjoyable and fun, and still be able to win with. Where I think it's much harder to do that in Standard or Legacy. Be like, oh man, this deck is so much fun. It's such a fringe, weird deck, but it's not going to win anything. Like Modern does have that craziness aspect to it that you could still win matches and stuff. So, from time to time we do see those decks, but like Brett was saying, the main purpose of Modern Magic Mondays is educational and entertainment. So we're here to entertain you guys, talk, hang out, as well as learn about the decks that are being used, why people are using the cards that they're using, all that kind of good stuff. A good segue into round one there. So before we get too far ahead, like we were talking about our thanks and stuff like that, there's a couple people in particular we want to thank before we get going into the rounds. We've got 2 patron donors, which are at the higher enough backer level to get a personal sponsorship on stream. Of course, we got Trip over at Comic Kung Fu, where we do all the recording. Big thank you to Trip. And then we've, of course, got Dionysus Bacchus, a.k.a. Eminem, our table judge extraordinaire, out there over at Cork Street Taverns. Great little restaurant in Winchester. So if you guys come up for some events, go check out the food there. We've got some pretty delicious ribs and stuff. We've also got 2 other people that aren't at the high enough backer level to get the personal sponsorship, but still able to donate every single month. And that is, of course, Matthew Manson, $5 level there, I believe, somewhere around that. So, of course, does get those big thank yous and all that on stream, and does be amongst the backer level tier amongst our stream. And then we've got Season 3 champion, Chris Carosa.
Nice guy.
Saying, you know what? I'm going to help support Modern Magic Mondays a little bit, and we owe him some Magic Online match. We got to figure out what he wants to play. If he wants to play a draft, or if he wants to do Modern and stuff like that, so we can record up.
So how's that going to work?
So the way it's going to work is, at some point, he's going to decide what he wants to play, and then he's going to play against both of us at some point or another.
Oh, okay.
So
is it just you? Are you sure? Because I'm really bad at Magic.
Yeah.
I just like to talk about it. I don't know if we need to do that.
You know what? Maybe you can just hang out here and
That's
we'll
fine.
do the video. We'll record the video up while.
Nice. We'll
so that is one of the things.
2 against 1 action.
Exactly.
Right.
One of the things that we get to do at the $10 backer level is that you get a match recorded up against us, and we'll put it up on YouTube and all that for people to be able to watch and stuff. But we've had some other people that have helped us out to be able to get awesome playmat, some sweet dice, cool stickers, which we do giveaways for, and then a bunch of other cool stuff that we've been able to help us out with, and cameras, things like that.
Absolutely.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the awesome people out there?
Just like you said, we couldn't do it without these like donations that kind of trickle through and have really just kind of helped propel this last year forward. So big thanks to Drewski Brew, always number one. Atticus, Tatradamus, Lilo Goif, Nate Hop 34, Burgleton, Stormdust 07, Badger 934, Strog Smash, and Weeaboo Wet Dream, and now Hellshock.
Yeah.
Stormbreath says hello. So does Bonfire Hellshock.
Oh,
please.
Bonfire.
But thank you guys so much, because we literally cannot do this without you guys. This is the sort of support that we definitely look forward to each and every week, having people in chat, interacting, watching these matches. To everyone watching on YouTube, hello.
Hi.
Thank you guys again.
Close. 82
That's awesome.
subscribers.
There you go.
So once we get up to that 100 subscribers on YouTube, we do get the access to the URL that we're interested in.
So there you go. I mean, it's growing, and it's growing really fast, and I'm super excited about it.
So, all right. So let's jump in round one. We've been sitting here waiting. Let's get it going.
One game. 3 in one game. Got my eyes on you.
All right. So,
Oh.
let's get our timer going.
Interesting. So just right out of the 25 minutes.
Oh, 25 minutes. What? It's not that. 50 minutes. All right.
So we got Julie Heath, Season 3 Top 8 contender, versus Charles Boyer, I would say our Grixis player. You know what I mean? Like, we've had other Grixis players in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The Plast. But Charles is very consistent with Grixis.
Oh, so it's not Control. He says we need to update the name. All right. So we can be able to update it. We know for sure it's Grixis because it's Charles, right? Is that what we're going to...
I mean, that's what we assume. But now he's telling us that it's not Grixis.
No red here this week, so
it's blue-black.
Dimir?
Huh. Okay. Kind of explains that thing that you were going to try and get him with.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But we got Julia's rocking Infect, and just so you guys know, this will not be the last week.
Got a brew.
For Gitaxian Probe here on Modern Magic Mondays, because we record all matches the week before.
Mm-hmm.
So the day that these matches were recorded, the banned and restricted list went out literally 12 hours before, or 24 hours, I should say.
Yeah.
24 hours before we recorded these matches. So you will see them this week if we have Infect on camera or any other deck, Death Shadow Aggro, the Suicide Blue deck, and also next week.
Yeah, we're going to encourage our players, if they are running the banned cards next week, maybe not to be on camera, but, if they still want that last week, we're not going to hold it against them.
And then we're going to tell them they can't use lands in front, just to see what happens.
Speaking of lands in front, Julia, one of our prominent lands in front players here, is still running the Gitaxians this week because she is very upset about this.
Sure.
Not wanting to play Infect without the Gitaxians. No, I'm just probably still going to play Infect, but definitely was very upset once the ban was announced. Which I feel like a lot of people initially were like, that play Infect maybe were like, dang it, why? I was waiting for you to get rid of Become Amends. Why did you go for this? But it went across the board for other decks. I think the Storm players out there were most upset about this card going than the Infect players, but that's alright. So let's see what Dimir Control looks like. Because most of the time you're used to seeing red in a control deck from Charles. He loves that Grixis style we've talked about. But he said he's got a brew that he's bringing to tonight. And we got the dice tonight. You can see clearly.
Oh my gosh, we're fully prepared. It's a roll off. It looked like an 8. Here's a 7. Oh no, it was 7/7. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
These dice are broken. Oh, there she goes. Yes, yeah, got him. Gonna go first.
Can't wait to get Gitaxian on turn 1. So we're gonna draw 7 cards. We're gonna take a look at it. All right. So let's look at Charles' hand.
Mm-hmm.
We got a pretty good looking view. I saw an island. It's a pretty good card.
Great card.
Yep. I mean, I imagine he's probably running Counter Squalls. He's probably running. What else could he be running? Thought Seizes, Inquisition of Kozilek.
Some disruptions there. I like it.
Some control, some counter magic.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So Julia not happy with her 7, so she's gonna go down to 6.
Now, one of the things with Gataxian Probe, you're able to keep those greedier hands, knowing that you're going to cycle away a card. So that is something that some players are going to have to retrain themselves for. And being like, oh, this greedy hand, that's a 1-lander that I would normally be like, yeah, I want to keep that. Can't really keep that.
I think Charles is keeping. I saw at least 3 lands. Looks like maybe a Delta.
Could be.
They're at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
One of those originals.
Now, I'm wondering, like, Murder's Cut and stuff is a cool card to run. Dismember's always nice for removal for black. Trying to think what other stuff that's like blue-black that we could be seeing Charles run that could help him. Because Fatal Push is not legal yet.
No.
But that would fit probably really nicely in this Dimir control.
Misty Rainforest. And she says, I'm going to 17. The only way Nan knows how to play.
Best way to play. Life is irrelevant.
Let's get a breeding pool. Holy smokes. How did we know?
How did we know it was going to be a breeding pool? Because she's not running your Bant Infect.
Mistake number 1. Priest of Norn. Look it up. Actually, I got you guys. I'll find it for you.
We do have a handy dandy card bot, so if we're talking about any cards in chat or that you don't know of, just exclamation card and try your best to write the name. As long as you get close, it'll put something up.
I'm shocked to see a breeding pool there.
Nice. Hey, Gataxian Probe.
Oh, man.
You were right. Turn
Holy
1,
moly.
Gataxian. Okay.
Okay, so we got Creeping Tar Pit, Watery Grave, Mana Leak. Oh, is he going to play Revealed? Nice
Inquisition.
guy. That is a Delta, I think.
Polluted Delta.
And that Phyrexian Perfection.
Yeah, I mean,
Elf.
you see that. You gotta, like, knowing that there is that disruption, you have to lay that down. Banned!
No, dude, banned. Sadness.
Not yet.
Sadness on the stack.
4 days left.
So Inquisition of Kozilek is going to reveal a second Gataxian Probe, a Mutagenic Growth, a Blossoming Defense, and it looks to be a Catacomb.
Verdant Catacomb.
All right, so that Blossoming Defense is going to get. Oh, I think she had a moment with that Gataxian Probe. just kind of held it and said it's going to be fine.
So for sure, 3 damage is coming across.
Sure.
I think Gataxian Probe here is fine.
Plays the Catacombs.
I mean, he's tapped down.
I think you got to.
There's nothing else that
Just
you have to worry about.
push the damage where you can.
All right. Going to 13 life to be able to use the mutagenic, so it's a 3/3. Ooh, there's an Inquisition, and her getting all these cards in the graveyard like this are making me think maybe she's got to become immense.
It's okay. 3 damage is not 10. Everything is fine.
Well, just takes the 3. Inquisition again.
Just immediately just says, I'm throwing this out, and
Uses the Blossoming Defense.
yeah, says I don't really want to lose that.
And you can't have my Verdant.
Creeping Tar Pit's going to come into play tapped. Julia will go to 10.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm fine getting another breeding pool here. There's no real threat of like a Blood Moon, knowing that your opponent's played 2 non-basics, and his hand's pretty much full of all this like blue and black stuff.
I mean you have to be careful, but
yeah, I mean, you gotta think like it's not likely Grixis right now. There's a chance it could be like Esper, or maybe he's just drawing bad. But Blood Moon is not really on the radar for game 1, based on the land base and what Charles has in his hand.
Sure. As you said, that this is the Wild West of Magic, right?
Right.
Modern. Here's a Verdant Catacombs. Mutagenic. Boom. Let's go 3 more. And you just have to be careful. I find myself actually being very cautious, no matter who I'm playing, because Blood Moon is a card, and Blood Moon is my friend. So I find myself fetching for basics more often than not.
Ashiok!
Oh.
I'm a fan. I like Ashiok a lot. I think it needs a home in Modern, because it's a sweet card. Like, the plus, you exile 3 cards from the top of your opponent's library, and then you can minus X amount, whatever the X is the converted mana cost of one of the creatures, and you can play that creature. So that means next turn, if Charles wanted, he could play one of those Noble Hierarchs. There we go. Ashiok, Nightmare Weaver. Which I was running her in my Grixis list. Just because I like that card a lot.
Ashiok incoming. Pendlehaven, Pump. Here's 2 damage. I mean, this is the slow
chip away.
The slow chip away.
Now, I think if Charles has nothing else, I think it's safe to make get the Noble Hierarch out. Like, even if it's just gonna die, like having that as a blocker is pretty convenient. Yeah, so he will minus 1 to be able to play that Noble Hierarch.
Looking for the 8 on a D6. Julia draws.
Hoping for an Apostle's Blessing, something like that. Distortion Strike. Now,
Gitaxian Probe. 3rd one for this game.
Oh, Cryptic Command. And that is live.
Draws a card.
I mean, I think he just moved combat and swing in. Block. Dies.
And polluted. Gets a watery grave.
Double Ghost Quarter. Showing off a watch. That was pretty much the best Ashiok hit. Well, I think Noble Hierarchs, Glistener Elf would be solid to have in there. These 1-drops are great. You don't care so much about having a creature to try to kill your opponent with in this sort of matchup, but having someone to just jump in the way. And if you get another Infect creature, you could very easily kill off theirs. But more fetching going to take place. Julia's just going to thin out our deck a little bit.
2 cards in hand for Julia.
Still has that cryptic command. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this jumping in the way that Charles is doing is just a really good delay tactic that he has set up, because he's got the cryptic, so he's not even that worried, and he can really just start upticking Ashiok, which is a +2 ability to exile 3 cards.
Yo, Radio, thank you so much for the host.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. I'm used to saying I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's cool. You can just appreciate it too.
And Ashiok says, let me see what you got. Blighted Agent.
Blighted is a nice one.
And
the others,
oh,
an Ink Moth and a Vines. Yeah. Ooh, Damnation.
Boom.
Ooh. That's actually pretty nice, because he could just be like, alright, -2. Here's my Blighted Agent. I'm going to kill you with your own Blighted Agent.
I like it. Let's make it happen. And it's going to suspend Ancestral Vision.
Seems like it fits nicely in this. Yeah, these Ghost Quarters are set up nicely too. That, like, even if she drew into an Ink Moth, doesn't matter.
This has now become relevant. Serum Vision. Draw 1, scry 2, Mana Leak, and something else. I think he kept the something else on top. And wow, gonna grab another Glistener Elf. Ashiok is doing work.
Yeah, like, surprisingly enough, that Ashiok is kind of relevant in this matchup. When your opponent doesn't have very many creatures, and if you can remove all their threats on board and just slowly just pick away at their deck and just be like, nah, you're very reliant on getting that one creature across, well, you're never going to get a creature across. I'm always going to have a guy in the way. And then if you try with the Ink Moss, well, I'll just use my Ghost Quarters. And there's a second Infect creature now. Glistener Elf going to come out.
One more.
What is even happening?
Twisted Image that guy.
I would like to draw a card, please.
Draw. And the issue is that Charles has kind of got her on a lock, because he's able to rip a couple cards off the top of her deck, and I think I saw a Glistener Elf in her hand, but she can't even cast it because there's at least 2 counter spells sitting there waiting to be countered.
So, like, it can get through the Mana Leak, but it's not getting through the Cryptic Command.
Draw. 2.
Oh no. And Ashiok's gonna uptick.
And it looks like, oh, wow, 2 more Nobles.
Yikes. That's pretty good.
Ashiok ripped all 4 Nobles out of her deck.
Man.
Here's another Ancestral Vision. Draw.
Going to be casting Ancestral, targeting himself. draw for turn.
Got lots of cards.
Yeah. Oh. Is that a disfigure he's got?
Wow.
Another good removal for at least modern, because a lot of the stuff does have 2 toughness that you really want that single target stuff, like especially Infect.
Just a couple mana leaks.
Don't mind me. Just a chock full of removal, chock full of counter spells. Oh, another elf.
Wow. Wow.
You may have this. Thanks. Nice. Charles saying, yeah, the disfigures are pretty much all becoming fatal pushes next week, which makes perfect sense and fits in really nicely for where you want to be going with the deck. And oh my gosh, Julia's now sitting at 6 poison counters on her compared to the 8 of Charles. I think she's gonna die to Infect. What's happening? I've got to say,
discards a disfigure.
I'm liking this deck a lot that Charles is running. I know you'd love to hear that. Problem is we don't have any Ancestral Recalls.
Ancestral Vision.
That one, Ancestral Visions. We don't have any Ancestral Recalls.
We don't. You're right. You know what? I shouldn't have corrected you. We don't have those either. You're absolutely right. Here's an island.
But maybe we'll be getting them come March. That could be something that gets reprinted.
Yes. 2 more poison comes across.
Modern Masters 3 comes out in March, guys. Tied up now. 8 Infect across the board. I'm setting 8 poisons for both players.
Kappa HD.
Mm-hmm.
And
you may have these back.
Uh-huh.
Let's enter our scoop phase.
Uh-huh. Well, that's quite an interesting way to start off Modern Magic Mondays.
Yeah, I like it as a nice, fun Voodoo deck. Like, we talked a little bit about decks like that you're not, that's more fringy, you're not expecting, and I don't think anybody going into it was like, Dimir control, that's what I need to be worried about. No, that's not on anyone's radar. So, whose list would you like to read off?
No, you choose, because you are in love with both of these.
I know. Why you man, you made it difficult for me. I'm gonna read Julia's,
all right,
because she's on Team Infect.
Go ahead.
So we've got pretty normal looking sideboard for a lot of different 1-ofs, couple 3s, 2s here and there, but for the most part, very standard that you'd expect to see. 1 Dismember, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Spellskite, 1 Dispel, 1 Unravel the Aether, 3 Kitchen Finks, 1 Twisted Image, 1 Viridian Corruptor, 1 Wild Defiance, and 1 Spell Pierce. Now, there's going to be some changes to that once the banning takes effect, but I like her bringing in the Spell Pierce. I like her bringing in the Dispel. The Wild Defiance has the potential. No.
I was gonna say, what are you expecting with Wild Defiance?
Well, it's like it has the potential right now, knowing that there are like the Disfigures and the Dismembers, because Fatal Push isn't there yet.
Right.
But if she's running one in the main, then I don't think she needs the second one in there. I like her bringing in some Spellskites though, help keep things alive, and she can switch into regular damage if need be. Pithing Needle, I also like her bringing that in, knowing that Ashiok just kind of was rude, and there's Manlands available. for Charles. So like just having that extra in there seems nice. You could also make the argument for Grafdigger's Cage. It's blue. It's control. There's gonna be Snapcasters.
Could be.
So, but I think the big ones: Spell Pierce, Dispel, and the Spellskite Pithing Needle are the ones. So I think I like at least those 4 for sure. You can always make the argument for both Spellskites or that other Grafdigger's Cage. What about on Charles' side though?
Charles has got 3 Sun Droplet, 3 Thought Seeds, 1 Crucible of Worlds, 1 Disfigure, 1 Hercule's Recall, 3 Surgical Extraction, 2 Dispel, and 1 Vendilion Click.
Ooh.
I like the Click coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the Dispels and that one of Disfigure.
Mm-hmm.
We did see some Ghost Quarters, so I'm starting to see why we had the Crucible of Worlds on the sideboard.
Yeah.
To see if we maybe... I think he's probably prepared for Tron, like we all should be.
Yes.
Going into this banned and restricted.
Yeah.
I think Tron is starting to see a resurgence, so I understand Crucible of Worlds. But besides the probably 3 breeding pools she's probably running, and the 2 forests, that's pretty standard for Infect list now.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably not really worried about doing a Crucible lock at this point.
Yeah, true.
I think I would just be more focused on removing the threats and keeping it in control of what you want versus what the Infect player wants.
The other option to go for here is like complete disruption package with the Thoughtseize and Surgicals.
Sure.
I mean, you're going to be on the draw. So if she has a Glisten Elf, she's going to play a turn 1. But if she doesn't have that turn 1 play, has a Blighted Agent, or has particular pump spells, you can immediately just go for that disruption, because in a weird way, Infect is a creature-based combo deck in Modern. That it relies on that 1 or 2 creatures that you need, and just all these pump spells in your hand, you have to dump them out that turn, usually to kill somebody. But I definitely like having that Disfigure. I like the idea of the Click coming in for kind of those later stages like that. So there's definitely a lot of options available for Charles and how he wants to play out this matchup here. So they're shuffling up, getting ready to go. I don't know. What did you think about the Dimir list compared to like the Grixis stuff that we had seen before?
I think I can't make a really good call about it, especially in this matchup. I found that Ashiok's hits out of 60 cards was really, really good.
Yeah.
Which was just telling me that maybe Julia's deck was not shuffled the best.
There was a lot of clumping of there's the double noble.
Yep.
Oh, there's the other 2 nobles.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
the Ashiok really looked fantastic because of that, when normally it probably wouldn't be that because of the lack of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would probably find a lot more spells getting hit over creatures, obviously, ratio-wise. I think his deck is great. It's doing exactly what it should be doing.
Yeah.
I'm controlling the board. I'm going to disrupt your hand. I'm going to make sure that, and then he's got Ashiok in there to really just kind of solidify things.
Yeah.
Looks like they're keeping.
Yeah.
So, Misty Rainforest and pass for Julia.
And no Inquisition or Thoughtseize on turn 1 for Charles.
Interesting.
So, looks like he's going to be more of the control-y style going forward.
And I think that's fine. I think, you got your Ashiok play in the first game. Now let's really see what this deck can do against a tier 1 deck.
Yeah, true. Alright, fetches up for that breeding pool on the end step, going to 19. We'll be figuring out Verdant Noble here. Nope, goes for the elf. So the reason why she didn't play the elf turn 1, if she had it, was she has protection in her hand. Worried about like a disfigure, dismember, something in there that she's like, I feel more comfortable waiting an extra turn to play my elf, so I know that he'll be able to stay alive because I have the blossoming defense, I have the vines, I've got the apostles blessing, whatever it might be. She has some way to keep her creatures alive.
Depending on the hand, however, and Charles playing a blue-black list, I mean, can't you make the argument of maybe I just need to get it out now because he's running Inquisition of Kozilek and because he's running the Thoughtseizes?
And that's the...
if I'm going to keep a hand that has maybe one, two creatures at most, I'm going to want to get that creature out as soon as possible, especially if my opponent's playing something that can disrupt my hand.
And that's the risk. I think if you have a second creature or have an Ink Moth or something like that, you're more likely to jam that creature out. But a lot of players that I see, and something that I do, is play more conservative if I have those pump spells, and just waiting that turn before you start swinging in can be beneficial. So basically Julia's going to sit here and do some early pumps like this to see if she can get something off. So right now that is 5. That Glistener Elf's at 5. He's a 5/5. But that mana leak is a potential. She saw it in Charles' hand last game, so knows that it exists. And this is going to pull the mana leak probably. Now, does she have a Groundswell or something else? One, two, 3, 4, 5. So there'll be 6 cards in the graveyard if she had to become immense, because she could fetch for it. But no, just says I'm okay with that. We're gonna go swing in 5. And we'll see a shot come down for Charles, going down to 17. Move to combat. And I'll try to become immense here. And then these shrug mana leak.
So talk us through the thought process at this point. Do you...
So this could be that she has a vines or something like that to be able to... Okay, blossoming defense here. So I'm going to swing in 3 more, put him to 8. Again, that's more of the I'm worried you have removal play. Because you could make the argument of doing it the other way around to try to bait out counter magic. But that's more of, I think you have removal, so I'm going to try this out. And worst case, I'll deal 3 to you. But because it's much easier to just deal 2 damage than it is to deal 5 damage when you're sitting at Infect. So, here's a Snapcaster, though. And he'll be able to jump in the way. Going to choose Mana Leak, though. So, anything that Julia plays, with the exception of Mutagenic Growth, is going to be countered here. So she's going to end up losing that Glistener Elf. And she'll pass on over after that. Another Another watery grave, putting Charles down to 15.
All she needs is 2 more damage to push through. Gets that last breeding pool, or assumed to be last breeding pool.
Yeah. Most likely last breeding pool. Especially if it's the old school Glistener Elf list, so. And there's enough mana now, so Charles can start using his cryptic commands and really just kind of say, no, you're not going to be able to do anything. I'm just going to get all the value from it.
Here's a Blighted Agent. Snapcaster Mage. Target Mana League. Plays a Pithing Needle.
Naming Ashiok here?
Resolved, yes. I can only assume. Can you target the Creeping Tar Pit activation?
Can. Yeah. Let's just name a card.
It may benefit her to do that as well.
Yeah, so both of those are like the main targets you think of. You could also say like Polluted Delta, like you can do different things like that.
It's on Ashiok.
Okay.
So Wild Defiance is gonna come down.
Charles is going to fetch away, go to 14. Do we have a Cryptic here? So what do you think about Charles's islands that he's running?
Well, he only runs, I believe, Lorewind lands. Yeah, basics, so he has good taste.
He's got good taste. I do like the art from the Lorewind set for the lands and stuff. I think that's a good one. Good set to be using.
I caught some grief the other night.
Yeah.
Because of my basics and my modern deck. Someone was like, "What basics are you? Come on, man. What are you doing?" I was like, "Look, I found some."
What basics are you using?
Oh, I mean, they're Shadowmoor. There you go.
Ah, okay.
Not those filthy Lorewind ones.
Not those filthy Lorewind. Need those dark Shadowmoor ones. Not those bright ones. Yeah, they're all bright sunshine and flowers. I don't need those. Snapcaster Beat's actually quite relevant when your opponent is sitting at 9 life.
Well, yeah.
Ooh, looks like Tassiger.
I was going to say, is that the fish or is that Tassiger?
There's also Ashiok, I think, in hand. Which is sad we don't get to see that action going again.
Noble.
Okay. Regular damage?
Oh, he's got another Snapcaster in hand.
Shadow of Doubt? Is that what that is?
Probably. Two more damage coming across.
Bang. Down to 15. Or down to 5. I said 15. That would have been nice.
Pretty Pretty weird hit.
Yeah.
There.
Look, she gained reverse lifelink off that. Your opponent gains life, not you. Table judge helping us out. Ashiok. Piece of paper coming down.
I like it. Now we know. It's Ashiok.
Trigger.
Might of Old Krosa. Trigger on the Noble. That Noble is currently a 3/4.
No. Well, now that it's
Well,
resolved.
it's resolved now.
Yes.
It's,
Well, yes, you're right.
It's much larger now.
A 7/8.
It's a lot of damage.
Please say you have a distortion strike.
Ooh, that'd be pretty good.
Well, she could also have a Apostle's Blessing here.
She could.
So Snapcaster could come down. Response to the cast of Snapcaster. Apostle's Blessing. Protection from blue. Trigger. Gets 3 more. Puts it at 10. Any other pump spell saves the day.
But Charles risks it. He says, yeah, that's...
Alright. 7 damage. No, 8 because of the Exalted trigger.
Yeah. It's 5-5.
Whew. Tassiger?
No, that's...
Is that the Murderous Cut?
That's Murderous Cut.
Oh no.
Murderous Cut.
I'll murder him. Trigger. Dispel it. Dispel that dispel.
The Biscuit always risks it.
Vines. Double triggers now.
Yeah, that'll protect that Noble. Two. Here's the tar pit, I think. It's off camera. Here's a Snapcaster Mage. Target Murderous Cut.
Oh no.
Yes.
So she's in top deck mode now. Staring down 4 damage next turn.
Cast it.
Anything that if she gets a creature, it dies because she has to block. So she needs to draw a creature, and then next turn draw a creature, and then next turn draw a creature.
Pass. Ghost Quarter, a breeding pool. But Shadow down in response.
No!
So you may not search.
You can't search! Yes! I like this deck.
Resolves. You just play my deck, dude. You don't want people to search for cards.
It's true.
Serum Visions. Let's draw Scry 2. I think I saw Planeswalker go to the bottom.
I feel like in this list you could probably get away with running Lily too.
4. Oh, sure. And the hand gets extended.
So, Shadow it down. I mean, like, Julia tried for the lethal damage, and you saw that she was a little bit reserved at the end, which paid off with her having that binds. Like, she could have been like, here's the last little bit I could try to push for, but then that leaves her creature completely unprotected. So, does show that she's been playing Infect a while and knows to play a little reserved in that situation.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Not want to just go all out and end up dying. So, but Biscuit showing the skills of Dimir control. I like it.
Doesn't need red.
Doesn't. Who needs red? I mean, especially since we're going to be getting Fatal Push.
Who needs red?
So.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Oh yeah, Fatal Push actually wrecks your deck too.
Huh? No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're putting a lot of eggs in Fatal Push's basket, and we need to see it. We need to see it in action before.
I think it is still going to be a powerhouse in Modern. Like, I think it's going to be.
Says the Infect.
Well, I think it's going to be a powerhouse until Tron starts like edging back in, and then we're going to go. Stupid Fatal Push! Why can't all these big dumb creatures? Yeah, like that's what's gonna happen. Standings. So for those that are unfamiliar, you can actually look at the standings if you're watching on Twitch. It's got the season 4 standings over there. Julia is currently in first, followed by TJ, Lyle, and Dwayne, all tied with 12 points for week number 1. Jamie, Jeremy, Ryan, and Eric all with 9 points. And everybody else below them, I believe, has 6 or less. So that is our top 8 as it stands. We'll do the official standings at the end of the night after all these rounds. I was really tired of losing to Blood Moon, and surprisingly removed red from my deck makes it better against Blood Moon. The more you know. I guess I could see that. So let's take a look at our points. Half of our players sitting at 3 points, half of them at 0 points. No draws. Nobody with 1 point.
Nice.
It's very
clear cut.
Very clear cut. The players are playing for keeps. We're not dragging things out, so. Oh, good. I'm glad you were able to find it. And that is going to be a continual thing always on Twitch. If you guys want to check out our standings, they will be updated there 100% by Monday for when we are broadcasting stuff up. So, Chris Bauer's back. To the Bow Wow.
I'm telling you, Chris Bauer, he leaves for a couple weeks, he comes back, he gets 13, 15 points. He does it maybe, 4 or 5 times throughout the season, and he always gets really close to the top 8.
Yeah.
I was talking to him at the event on the 7th.
Oh yeah, the weekend one.
And he was like, "Yeah, I was really close, but school happened." And I was like, "Yeah, I get that. So he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna try it this time. See what we can do."
All right, so let's slide over to round 2, guys. Let's see who we've got on camera. Who do we get to see? Oh, it's happening.